Commander Thalric stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the blue planet below. Earth, such a small world. Such weak creatures living on it. He had studied the humans for 3 cycles. He read their history files. He watched their entertainment programs. He listened to their music. Everything told him the same thing. These humans were soft. They fought among themselves over stupid things. They cried over small problems. They were nothing compared to the Valkyrie Empire. "Commander, the fleet is in position," his second officer said. Thalric nodded. 50 warships surrounded the planet. 50 ships with weapons that could burn continents. The humans had nothing like this. They were still using chemical rockets. They were children playing with fire. "Send the message," Thalric ordered. "Tell them to surrender." The message went down to Earth in all their languages. Submit to the Valkyrie Empire or die. Simple, clean. The humans would see their ships in the sky and give up. That was how it always worked. But the humans did not surrender. Instead, they went silent. No response came back. Thalric waited 1 day. Then 2 days. Then 3 days, nothing. "Perhaps they are too frightened to respond," his second officer suggested. Thalric agreed. "Destroy one of their cities. A small one. Show them we are serious." The fleet targeted a coastal city. The weapons charged. The beams fired down from space. But something strange happened. The beams hit some kind of shield. Not a strong shield. It broke after a few seconds. But it was there. The humans had shields. The city burned. Thousands died. Thalric waited for the surrender message. It never came. Instead, the humans attacked. Captain Dongmin sat in his submarine. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, he had been waiting for this moment. When the alien ships appeared, everyone thought humanity was finished. But Dongmin knew something the aliens did not know. The oceans covered most of Earth, and the aliens never came into the water. "Targets locked," his weapons officer said. "Fire." Dongmin ordered. 6 torpedoes left the submarine. They were not normal torpedoes. Human scientists had worked day and night to add new technology. These torpedoes could swim like fish. They could hide from sensors. They could think for themselves. The torpedoes went up, up, up. They broke through the ocean surface and flew into the sky. The alien ships tried to shoot them down. They hit 3 torpedoes. But 3 more got through. The explosions were beautiful. 3 alien ships broke apart and fell into the ocean. The metal screamed as it hit the water. Dongmin smiled. "Dive," he ordered. "Move to position 7. We attack again in 1 hour." All around the world, other submarines did the same thing. The aliens could see submarines on their sensors, but the ocean was huge. Every time they found 1 submarine, 2 more attacked from different places. Thalric could not believe what was happening. He had lost 12 ships in 1 day. 12 ships. To submarines. Submarines were ancient technology. His people stopped using them 2,000 years ago. How are they doing this? He shouted at his officers. Dr. Hana sat in a military base deep underground. Around her, screens showed the battle. She was a scientist, not a soldier. But right now, science was the best weapon humanity had. "The aliens use quantum communication," she explained to the generals watching. "All their ships talk to each other instantly. No delays, very advanced. Can we stop it?" a general asked. "No," Hana said. "But we can make it hurt them." She showed them her plan. The aliens' quantum communication was spread across all their ships. If you hit it with the right kind of electromagnetic pulse, the system did not break. It went crazy. Every ship would receive wrong information. They would think enemies were friends. They would think empty space had targets. "We need to get close to do this," Hannah said. "Very close." The general looked at her. "You mean suicide attacks?" "Yes," Hannah said quietly. "I mean exactly that." The volunteers came forward. Hundreds of them. They took small ships filled with EMP weapons. They flew toward the alien fleet. Most of them died before getting close. The alien weapons were strong. But some got through. When the EMP weapons exploded, the alien fleet went mad. Ships fired at each other. They crashed into each other. They flew in wrong directions. For 10 minutes, chaos ruled the sky. In those 10 minutes, Earth's militaries launched everything they had: missiles, drones, planes with bombs, even old fighter jets from museums. Everything that could fly and carry a weapon went up. Thalrix watched his fleet die. 20 ships gone. Then 30. Then 40. He could not understand it. The humans should not be winning. They were weaker. They were less advanced. They were nothing, but they kept coming. Every time he destroyed one human attack, another came from a different direction. They did not fight with honor. They did not fight with rules. They used tricks. They lied. They pretended to surrender and then attacked. They hid among their own civilians. They sacrificed themselves without hesitation. "Commander, we must retreat," his second officer said. The officer was bleeding from a head wound. "We cannot win this. No," Thalrix shouted. "We are Valkyrie. We do not run from primitives." But even as he said it, another explosion rocked the flagship. The humans had sent a fighter plane straight into the shield generator. The pilot never tried to escape. He just flew his plane like a missile into the ship. Who does that? What kind of species does that? Thalrix had 5 ships left. 5 ships from 50. He looked at Earth below. The planet was damaged. Cities burned. Millions of humans were dead. But the humans were still fighting. They were still coming. "Retreat," he whispered. "Get us out of here." The 5 ships turned to run. But the humans were not finished. Submarines fired one last wave of torpedoes. Missiles came from ground bases. Even the damaged human space station fired its small weapons. 2 more ships died. 3 ships escaped into faster-than-light speed. 3 ships from 50. Thalrix tried to send a message back to the Empire. He needed to warn them. He needed to tell them the truth about humans. They were not soft. They were not weak. They were the most dangerous thing he had ever seen. "They don't fight like anyone else," he said into the communicator. "They don't care about honor. They don't care about rules. They don't even care about dying. They just want to win." The message was cut off. A final human missile hit the communication array. The 3 ships ran into the darkness of space. Behind them, Earth burned but did not break. Captain Dongmin brought his submarine to the surface. He opened the hatch and looked at the sky. Smoke covered half the world. The oceans were full of debris, but the alien ships were gone. "We won?" his second officer said with disbelief. "No," Dongmin said quietly. "We survived. They will come back. And next time they will be ready for us." Dr. Hana thought the same thing in her underground base. She looked at the data from the battle. The aliens were more advanced. They had better weapons, better shields, better ships. Humanity won today because of surprise and desperation. Next time would be harder. Far away in space. In the capital of the Valkyrie Empire, the leaders received Thalrix's broken message. They listened to his words. They saw the numbers. 50 ships sent. 3 returned. "Impossible," the High Council leader said. "This must be a mistake. Send a real fleet. Send warriors who will not fail. Teach these humans their place." The order was given. The second fleet began to prepare. This fleet would be larger. This fleet would be ready. This fleet would show the humans what real war looked like, but none of them knew the truth. None of them understood. They were not teaching humans about war. Humans already knew war. Humans had practiced war on each other for 10,000 years. Humans were very, very good at war. The Valkyrie Empire had made a terrible mistake. They woke up something that should have stayed sleeping. They started a fight with a species that did not know how to quit, and no warrior would return from this war. War scholar Venther studied the records from the First Fleet for the 100th time. He sat alone in his research chamber aboard the massive flagship of the Second Fleet, Around him floated holographic images of the battle. Again and again he watched human submarines appear from nowhere. Again and again he watched human pilots fly their craft into Valkyrie ships on purpose. Venthyr was not a normal warrior. He was a scholar of war. He studied how battles were won and lost. He had read about 10,000 wars across 200 worlds. He thought he understood everything about combat, but the humans confused him. They fight without pattern, he said to himself. No logic, no structure, just chaos and rage. The second fleet was different from the first. It had 80 ships instead of 50. It had better shields that could stop torpedoes. It had sensors that could find submarines deep underwater. It had weapons designed to fight enemies who hid and used tricks. The fleet admiral called Venthyr to the bridge. "Scholar, we arrive at Earth in one cycle. What do you recommend?" Venthyr showed his analysis. The humans are unpredictable fighters. They do not follow standard military doctrine. My recommendation is to target their largest city. Make an example. Show them the cost of resistance. "Which city?" the admiral asked. "Seoul, it is large." "It is important. If we destroy it completely, the other humans will surrender," the admiral agreed. The fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed near Earth. Immediately, alarms began screaming. The humans were ready. Thousands of satellites armed with weapons, space stations with guns, even rocks pushed into orbit to use as missiles. "Destroy them all," the admiral ordered. The battle for orbit began. The Valkyrie ships had better shields this time. Human missiles exploded against them without effect. Human satellites were destroyed by the hundreds. In 3 hours, Earth's orbital defenses were gone. "Now," the admiral said with satisfaction, "now we show them fear. Begin the bombardment of Seoul." Colonel J1 stood in the military command center under Seoul. He watched the alien ships position themselves in the sky. He knew what was coming. Everyone knew. "Begin evacuation protocol 7, he ordered quietly. Around him, officers worked quickly. Seoul had 15 million people. 15 million people who needed to disappear in the next few hours, but Seoul had a secret. Under the city there were tunnels. Hundreds of kilometers of subway tunnels, shopping tunnels, service tunnels, and military tunnels that the public never knew about. These tunnels connected to bunkers. The bunkers connected to more tunnels. The tunnels went everywhere. "Move the civilians down," J1 said. "All of them. Leave the surface empty." Above ground, sirens wailed. People ran to subway stations. They ran to special buildings with hidden basement doors. They ran to parks where secret elevators went down into the earth. 15 million people began to disappear like water into sand. The alien bombardment started 30 minutes later. Energy beams came down from space. Buildings exploded. Streets melted. Fire spread across the entire city. From space, it looked like Seoul was dying, but under the ground, the people were safe. And Colonel J1's soldiers were getting ready. Kyung-hee was the mayor of the Western District. She was not a soldier. She was a politician who spent her career fixing roads and helping small businesses. But now she led 300,000 civilians in the underground tunnels. "We need food," someone said. "Water, medicine." "We have all of that," Kyung-hee said calmly. She showed them the supply rooms. Korea had prepared for war for 70 years. The war with the North never came, but the preparations remained. Food for months. Water from underground rivers. Medicine and blankets and everything needed for survival. "How long do we stay down here?" A mother with 2 children asked. Jung-hee looked at the woman. "As long as it takes. We will survive. That is what we do." Above ground, the bombardment continued for 6 hours. Seoul burned. Every building was destroyed. Every street was gone. The aliens used enough firepower to kill a city 10 times over. Then they sent down troops. 10,000 Valkyrie warriors and drop pods. They expected to find bodies. They expected to find ruins and silence. Instead, they found an ambush. Colonel J1 had divided his forces into small teams. Each team knew the underground tunnels perfectly. Each team had weapons taken from dead aliens in the first battle. Each team had one job: kill aliens and disappear. The Valkyrie troops landed in the ruins. They spread out to search for survivors. Then the first team attacked. 20 human soldiers came out of a tunnel entrance. They fired alien weapons at the surprised Valkyrie troops. 5 aliens died before they could react. Then the humans ran back into the tunnels and disappeared. The Valkyrie warriors chased them. But the tunnels were dark and narrow. The tunnels twisted and turned. The Valkyrie got lost. When they tried to go back, different humans attacked from behind. More aliens died. Venther watched from the ship with growing concern. The battle was not going right. His warriors were dying in the tunnels. They could not find the enemy. They could not find the civilians. It was like fighting ghosts. "Send more troops," the admiral ordered. 20,000, 30,000. Fill those tunnels with warriors. But more troops just meant more targets. The humans knew every tunnel, every corner, every hiding spot. They appeared, killed, and vanished. The Valkyrie troops began to fear the darkness. They fired at shadows. They called for help when there was no enemy. 1 week passed. The Valkyrie controlled the surface ruins of Seoul, but they controlled nothing else. The tunnels were full of dead aliens. The humans kept fighting. They never stopped. They never surrendered. Kyung-hee organized the civilians into support teams. Some people cooked food for the soldiers. Some people carried ammunition. Some people treated wounded fighters. Even children helped by carrying messages through the small tunnels where adults could not fit. "We are not soldiers," someone complained. "Why are we doing this?" Kyung-hee looked at the man. "Because this is our home. Because these are our children. Because we will not let aliens take our world. Every person here is part of the fight. Every person here matters." The man went back to work. Colonel J1 moved through the tunnels to visit his teams. He saw soldiers who had not slept in days. He saw people wounded but still fighting. He saw determination in every face. "Sir, we are low on ammunition," a young lieutenant named Bora told him. She was a fighter pilot before the aliens destroyed all the planes. Now she led a tunnel team. "Then we take more from them," J1 said. "We killed 300 aliens yesterday." "They had 300 weapons. Use those," Bora nodded. "Yes, sir. We also need explosives. I want to collapse Tunnel 7 on top of the alien troops." "Do it," J1 approved. "Use everything. Use the buildings. Use the ground. Use the enemy's own equipment. This is our city. We make it a trap." The Valkyrie warriors began to understand they were in trouble. Seoul was not a battle. It was a meat grinder. Every day, more warriors went into the tunnels. Every day, fewer came out. The humans were not fighting fair. They used bombs hidden in rubble. They used fake surrenders to get close. They poisoned water supplies. They made noise in one tunnel to draw aliens into ambush in another tunnel. Venther studied the battle with horror. He had read about this kind of fighting in ancient texts, urban warfare, guerrilla combat, siege tactics. But reading about it and experiencing it were different things. "We are losing," he told the admiral quietly. "Impossible," the admiral said. "We have 30,000 warriors on the ground. They have perhaps 5,000 soldiers." "Numbers do not matter here," Venther said. "The environment favors them. The knowledge favors them. The desperation favors them. Every advantage is theirs. Then what do we do?" Venther did not have an answer. 2 weeks after the first landing, the Valkyrie troops began to retreat. They could not hold the tunnels. They could not find the enemy. They could not even find the civilians. Seoul had become a ghost city that killed anyone who entered it. The admiral ordered a final bombardment. "Destroy the tunnels, collapse them all. Bury the humans alive." The ships fired their weapons into the ground. Dozens of tunnels collapsed. Thousands of tons of rock fell. But the tunnel system was too large, too deep, too well built. For every tunnel that collapsed, 10 more remained open, and the humans kept fighting. Colonel J1 received a message from his superiors. "Other cities are under attack. We need your forces." "We cannot leave," J1 replied. "If we leave, the aliens will claim victory here." "You have done enough," the message said. "Seoul has held for 3 weeks. You have killed more aliens than the rest of Korea combined. Come fight somewhere else. J1 looked at his soldiers. At the civilians, at Kyunghee and Bora and all the others. They were tired, they were hurt. But they were not defeated. No, he said. Seoul stands, we stand. Tell the other cities to do what we did? Go underground. Make the aliens fight for every meter. Make them pay for every step. Show them that humans do not give up. In orbit, Ventnor convinced the admiral to retreat. The Second Fleet had lost 30 ships. 40,000 warriors were dead or missing, and they had accomplished nothing. Seoul was still fighting. The humans were still there. As the ships prepared to leave Earth, Ventnor sent one message back to the Empire. They don't have a warrior caste like us. They don't separate soldiers from civilians. Grand Admiral Zelmuth was a legend among the Valkyrie. He had conquered 18 worlds. He had won 30 major battles. He had never retreated. He had never failed. When the High Council called him to lead the Third Fleet, he accepted with confidence. The first 2 fleets were led by fools, he told his officers. They did not understand war. They tried to fight with honor and strategy. I will show you how to truly conquer a world. The Third Fleet was massive. 200 warships. The largest fleet the Valkyrie Empire had ever assembled. 1/3 of their entire military power. Zelmuth brought enough firepower to destroy Earth 10 times over. We will not fight the humans on their terms, Zelmuth announced. We will not send troops into their tunnels. We will not try to occupy their cities. We will simply burn everything. Poison their atmosphere. Boil their oceans. Make their world unlivable. Then we will see if they still fight. The Third Fleet arrived at Earth. They did not bother with demands or messages. They immediately began the systematic destruction of the planet. Energy weapons heated the atmosphere. Chemical bombs poisoned the water. Biological weapons were released into the air. On Earth, billions of people began to die. The sky turned black with smoke. The rain burned skin. The air became hard to breathe. It looked like the end of the world. Dr. Seung-ho worked in a sealed laboratory deep underground. Around him, other scientists worked frantically. They wore protective suits. They handled dangerous materials. They knew what they were doing was terrible, but they also knew it was necessary. How long until the weapon is ready? A general asked through the communications screen. Seung-ho looked at the containers in front of him. Inside were biological agents, not simple diseases. These were carefully designed weapons. 6 days, he said. Maybe 5 if we skip some safety tests. Skip them, the general ordered. We don't have time. Earth is dying. Seung-ho nodded slowly. He had spent his whole life saving people. He was a doctor before he was a scientist. He had taken an oath to do no harm. But now he was creating something designed only to cause suffering. I need samples from captured aliens, he said. Living samples. At least 5 specimens. You will have them, the general promised. The samples arrived within hours. 5 Valkyrie warriors in containment cells. They were wounded prisoners from the Seoul battle. They looked at the human scientists with hatred and fear. Seung-ho studied them carefully. He took blood samples, tissue samples, genetic material. The Valkyrie biology was different from humans, but not completely alien. They had similar organs, similar immune systems, similar nervous systems. That was their weakness. We can do this, Seung-ho told his team. We can create something that affects only them, something that spreads fast, something that hurts but does not kill immediately. Why not kill them? A younger scientist asked. Because, Seung-ho explained quietly, a dead enemy just stops fighting. An enemy in agony spreads fear. An enemy who watches his friends suffer wants to run away. We need them to be afraid. The weapon took 4 days to create. It was a virus, modified, weaponized, designed specifically for Valkyrie biology. It attacked their nervous system. It caused terrible pain. It made their skin feel like fire. It made every movement agony. And it spread through the air from person to person. Lieutenant Bora was no longer a pilot. All the planes were destroyed. She was no longer a tunnel fighter. Soul was abandoned. Now she flew captured alien shuttles on suicide missions. Her job was simple. Get close to the alien fleet. Release the weapon. Die trying. She stood with 19 other volunteers. All of them knew they were not coming back. The alien defenses were too strong. The chances of success were tiny. But someone had to try. Ready? The mission commander asked. Ready? Bora answered. She looked at the others. Some were crying. Some were praying. Some just looked angry. She understood all of them. The shuttles launched at night. They flew low over the burning ocean. They used every trick to avoid detection. 12 shuttles were destroyed before reaching orbit. But 8 got through. Bora's shuttle made it closest to the alien flagship. Alarm screamed around her. The alien weapons locked on. She had maybe 10 seconds. For Earth, she whispered. She activated the weapon release. The shuttle exploded. Bora never felt it. But the weapon dispersed into space, invisible, silent, deadly on the flagship. Grand Admiral Zelmoth felt a strange sensation 6 hours later. His skin itched. Then it began to burn. Then the burning became agony. He looked at his arms. No marks, no wounds. But the pain was real. Around him, other crew members began to scream. The pain hit everyone at once. Warriors fell to the floor. Some tried to claw their own skin off. Some begged for death. What is this? Zelmoth demanded through his own pain. What are they doing to us? The ship's doctor had no answers. The pain was real, but there was no physical cause. No poison, no disease. Nothing they could treat. Nothing they could stop. Then the reports came from other ships. The entire fleet was infected. Thousands of warriors crying in agony. The pain got worse every hour. Some warriors began to go mad. Some stopped following orders. Some killed themselves to escape the suffering. Dr. Sungho watched the data from Earth. The weapon was working. Maybe too well. He saw reports of Valkyrie warriors jumping out of airlocks. He saw ships losing control because the crew could not function. He had created something terrible. We should stop, he said to the general. This is too much. Stop. The general looked at him with disbelief. They are burning our world. They are killing billions of our people. And you want to show mercy? Sungho had no answer. He knew the general was right. But he also knew he would never forget what he had done. He had weaponized suffering. He had turned pain itself into a tool of war, but the weapon alone was not enough. The aliens were still there. Their ships still fired. Earth was still dying. More had to be done. General Taesung coordinated the final attack. Every remaining human military asset. Every missile. Every bomb. Every weapon that still worked. Everything launched at once, but the humans added one more element. They used space debris as weapons. All the destroyed satellites. All the broken stations. All the wreckage from previous battles. They pushed it all toward the alien fleet. The Valkyrie ships tried to shoot down the incoming metal. But there was too much. And their crews were suffering. Their aim was bad. Their reactions were slow. Thousands of pieces of debris hit the ships. Then the real missiles arrived. Nuclear weapons. Kinetic weapons. Chemical weapons. Weapons that had been banned by international treaty. Weapons humanity promised never to use. All of them launched at the alien fleet. Grand Admiral Zelmoth watched his fleet disintegrate. The pain made it hard to think. The chaos made it impossible to command. His warriors were dying. His ships were exploding. And the humans would not stop. Retreat, he ordered. His voice was weak. All ships retreat. But half the ships could not move. Their crews were incapacitated. Their systems were failing. Only 90 ships managed to escape Earth's gravity. 90 ships from 200. Those 90 ships jumped into faster than light speed. But the weapon went with them. The pain continued. Warriors continued to suffer. Some ships never made it home. Their crews died or went mad during the journey. Zelmuth reached Valkyrie space with 60 ships. He went immediately to the medical facilities. The doctors tried everything. Nothing worked. The weapon was too sophisticated, too precise. The pain would last for months. Maybe years? Maybe forever. He stood before the High Council. His skin still burned. Every movement was agony. But he had to report. Earth is dying, he said. But the humans are not defeated. They poisoned us. They used biological weapons we did not know they possessed. They weaponized suffering itself. They turned their own world into a weapon. The council members looked at each other nervously. 3 fleets sent. 3 fleets destroyed. Almost 400 ships lost. Over 100,000 warriors dead or broken. What kind of species does this? One council member asked quietly. What kind of species burns their own world to hurt their enemy? A species that will not accept defeat, Zelmuth said. A species that values victory above everything, even above survival. He showed them the final data from Earth. The planet was barely habitable. The atmosphere was poisoned. The oceans were dying. Billions of humans were dead. But the ones who remained were still fighting, still building weapons, still preparing for the next battle. They know we will send another fleet, Zelmuth continued. And they are ready. They have shown us they will sacrifice everything. Their cities, their people, their entire world. They will burn it all just to hurt us. The council was silent. Some members wanted to continue, to send even more ships, to finish what they started. But others were afraid. The humans had done the impossible 3 times. What if they could do it again? We need time to decide, the council leader said finally. Time to analyze. Time to prepare. The 4th fleet will not launch immediately. But everyone knew the truth. The delay was not about preparation. It was about fear. The mighty Valkyrie Empire was afraid of one small planet of primitive creatures, on Earth. Dr. Sungho walked through the ruins of what used to be a city. The sky was dark. The air was bad. The ground was dead. But humans still lived here. They built shelters from the rubble. They found water from deep underground. They grew food in sealed buildings. Empress Dalshara sat on the throne of the Valkyrie Empire and listened to the reports with growing rage. 3 fleets destroyed. Nearly 400 ships lost. Over 100,000 warriors dead or permanently damaged. And the humans still lived. This is unacceptable, she declared to the assembled council. We are the Valkyrie Empire. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. We have ruled this sector of space for 10,000 years. And now we are losing to primitives? Your Majesty, one council member began carefully, perhaps we should consider negotiation. The cost of this war is negotiation? Dalshara's voice was ice. You want to negotiate with creatures who infected our warriors with pain? Who burn their own world rather than submit? There will be no negotiation. There will be only extinction. She stood from her throne. I authorized the use of planetary destruction weapons. The ones we swore never to use after the Krell Wars. Bring them from storage. Prepare the 4th fleet. We will not fight the humans. We will simply erase them. The council chamber fell silent. The weapons the Empress mentioned were banned by every civilized species in the galaxy. Planet crackers that could split a world in half. Antimatter bombs that could burn away an atmosphere in seconds. Reality warping devices that could make space itself unstable. Your Majesty, the same council member tried again. The Galactic Assembly will do nothing. Dalshara cut him off. They are afraid of us. They always have been. They will condemn our actions in pretty words and do nothing more. Now go. Prepare the 4th fleet. I want every banned weapon we possess. I want enough firepower to turn Earth into dust. The orders were given. The 4th fleet began to assemble. This would be the largest military operation in Valkyrie history. 300 ships. every available warrior, and weapons that could end worlds. On Earth, General Taesung received intelligence reports from space. The humans had captured some alien communication equipment. They could listen to some Valkyrie transmissions. What they heard was terrifying. "They are bringing everything," he told the assembled military leaders. "Weapons we did not know existed. Enough power to destroy the planet itself." The room was silent. They had survived 3 fleets. But this was different. You cannot fight a weapon that destroys the ground under your feet. You cannot hide from a bomb that burns away the atmosphere. "What do we do?" someone asked. Taesung looked at the maps of Earth. The planet was barely alive. Billions were dead. The survivors lived underground or in sealed cities. The surface was poisoned. The sky was dark. But humans still existed here. "We make a choice," he said slowly. "We can evacuate. Take the people who can escape. Go to our colonies on Mars and the Moon. Let Earth die." Or, another general asked, "Or we make Earth into a trap." The ultimate trap? We accept that we might lose our homeworld, but we make sure the enemy loses too. Scientist Young Mi was called to the meeting. She was a physicist. She specialized in planetary mechanics and gravitational fields. She had been working on something theoretical, something that should never be used. "Tell them about the core weapon," Taesung ordered. Young Mi pulled up her research. "Earth's core is mostly iron, very hot, very dense. It generates our magnetic field. In theory, we can use nuclear weapons to destabilize the core. Make it expand suddenly. The magnetic field would pulse outward with massive intensity." "What would that do?" a general asked. "It would create an electromagnetic pulse on a planetary scale, strong enough to destroy any electronic device in orbit, strong enough to fry ship systems, maybe strong enough to reach beyond Earth's gravity well." "Would it work?" Young Mi hesitated. "I don't know. We would only get one chance. And it would probably destroy what is left of Earth's habitability. The magnetic field would be damaged for centuries. Maybe forever, but it would stop them?" "Yes," Young Mi said quietly. "It would stop them. If they are in orbit when we trigger it, their entire fleet would be disabled. Their ships would fall from the sky. None of them would escape." Taesung looked around the room. "So we can save some people by evacuating. Or we can try to destroy the entire 4th Fleet by sacrificing Earth itself. What do we choose?" The debate lasted 3 days. Some wanted to evacuate, save who they could and rebuild elsewhere. Others wanted to fight. Make the aliens pay one more time. Show them that Earth would never surrender. In the end, they chose to do both. "We evacuate everyone we can," Taesung announced. "We send them to Mars, to the Moon, to the deep space colonies. We save as many lives as possible. And the rest?" someone asked. "The rest of us stay. We prepare the trap. We make Earth into a weapon. When the 4th Fleet arrives, we detonate the core weapon. We fall from orbit together. US and them." It was a terrible plan. It meant accepting that Earth might die. It meant the volunteers who stayed would almost certainly die with it. But it also meant the aliens would learn the final lesson. Fighting humans costs everything. The evacuation began immediately. Every ship humanity possessed, every shuttle, every transport. They ran constantly between Earth and the colonies. Millions of people left their dying homeworld. Children, elderly, civilians, anyone. Who could be spared, but not everyone could go? The ships were not big enough. The colonies could not support billions. Choices had to be made. Terrible choices. Kyung Hee was offered a place on an evacuation ship. She was a civilian leader. She was important. She deserved to survive. She refused. "My people are here," she said simply. "The ones who cannot evacuate. The ones who have to stay. I will not abandon them." Thousands of others made the same choice. Soldiers stayed to operate the defense systems. Scientists stayed to complete the core weapon. Leaders stayed to coordinate the final battle. And civilians stayed because there was simply no room on the ships for everyone. 3 months passed. Half of Earth's remaining population evacuated. 2 billion people left. 2 billion people stayed. The ones who stayed prepared for the end. Young-me worked day and night on the core weapon. She placed nuclear devices at key points deep underground. She calculated the precise timing needed. She programmed the systems to trigger simultaneously. If it worked, the magnetic pulse would be enormous. If it failed, the nuclear weapons would probably crack the planet anyway. Are you sure this will work? Taesung asked her. No, Young-mi admitted. I am not sure of anything. This is all theory. We are trying something that has never been done before. Good, Taesung said. He was not joking. That means the aliens will not expect it. Surprise is our only advantage now. The Fourth Fleet arrived 3 months and 6 days after leaving Valkyrie space. 300 massive warships. Empress Dalshara herself came aboard the command ship. She wanted to watch Earth die personally. Begin the attack, she ordered. Use the planet crackers first. Split the world in half. Then use antimatter bombs on the pieces. I want nothing left. The ships moved into position. The weapons charge. On Earth, alarms rang in every remaining settlement. This was it. The final battle. The end of everything. Wait for my signal, Taesung told his forces. Let them get close. Let them think they have won. Then we activate the weapon. The first planet cracker fired. It was a massive beam of concentrated gravitational force. It hit Earth's crust and began to dig toward the core. The ground shook. Mountains collapsed. Oceans boiled. It looked like the world was splitting apart. Now? Young-mi asked. Her hand was on the activation button. Not yet, Taesung said calmly. Let more ships move into position. A second planet cracker fired. Then a third. Earth screamed. The crust began to fracture. Lava burst through the surface in a dozen places. Anyone still on the surface died instantly. But most people were deep underground, protected, waiting. Sir, we have to do it now. Someone shouted. If we wait any longer, their weapons will destroy the core before we can trigger it. Taesung watched the display. 200 enemy ships in close orbit. 50 more approaching. The rest hanging back at a safe distance. Good enough, Young-mi, he said quietly. Do it. End this, Young-mi pressed the activation button. Deep underground, 200 nuclear weapons exploded simultaneously. They were positioned precisely around Earth's core. The explosions were shaped, directed, focused. The core destabilized exactly as Young-mi predicted. The iron expanded suddenly. The magnetic field pulsed outward with impossible force. It was like Earth itself screamed at the heavens. In orbit, every Valkyrie ship lost power instantly. Their shields died. Their weapons died. Their engines died. Their life support died. Even their lights died. The electromagnetic pulse fried every electronic system simultaneously. 300 ships hung dead in space for one perfect moment. Then gravity took over, the ships began to fall. Slowly at first. Then faster. They had no power to fight it. No engines to escape. They just fell toward the burning planet below. Empress Dalshara watched her ship's systems die around her. Emergency power tried to activate and failed. Backup systems tried to engage and failed. Everything failed. The ship was falling and nothing could stop it. What did they do? She whispered. What did they do? Her officers had no answers. They were too busy dying. The ship hit the atmosphere. The hull began to burn. No shields to protect it. No systems to slow it down. Just fire and death. All across Earth's orbit, 300 ships burned. Some broke apart in the atmosphere. 5 years passed. 5 years since the Fourth Fleet fell from the sky. 5 years since Earth became a burning graveyard. The planet still existed, but barely. The magnetic field was weak and unstable. The surface was too dangerous for life. But deep underground, humans survived. They always survived. A single ship approached Earth. It was small. It was unarmed. It broadcast a message in every human language. We come in peace. We wish to talk. We surrender. The message repeated over and over. The ship waited at the edge of Earth's gravity well. It made no aggressive moves. It just waited. In the underground city of New Seoul, President Jinwoo received the message. He was elected leader of the human government 3 years ago. He led the survivors through the hardest years. The years when they thought they might not make it. The years when food ran short and air recyclers failed and people died from diseases that should have been curable, but they survived. They adapted. They built a new civilization in the darkness under their dead planet. And now the aliens wanted to talk. What do you think? Jinwoo asked his advisors. It could be a trick, General Tae-sung said. He was older now. Gray hair, tired eyes, but still sharp, still careful. Or it could be real, elder historian Mi-sun argued. She was brought into the government because someone needed to document what happened. Someone needed to record this war so future generations would understand. We destroyed 4 fleets. We killed their empress. Maybe they have learned their lesson. Jinwoo considered for a long time. Bring them down. But carefully. 1 ship. An armed escort. If they try anything, destroy them immediately. The Valkyrie ship landed in the ruins that used to be Geneva. It was symbolic. Geneva was where humans used to talk about peace. Now it was a crater filled with debris. But some of the old buildings still stood. Enough for a meeting place. Ambassador Krevel stepped out of the ship. He was old for a Valkyrie. His scales were gray. His eyes were sad. He wore no weapons, no armor. Just simple robes. He looked around at the ruins, at the black sky, at the dead earth. What have we done? He whispered to himself. President Jinwoo met him in a temporary structure built from salvaged materials. No palace, no fancy room. Just a tent with chairs and a table. That was all that remained. Krevel entered and saw the human leader. Jinwoo was thin. Too thin. Everyone underground was thin. Food was rationed. But he stood straight. His eyes were hard. I am Ambassador Krevel, the alien said. I represent what remains of the Valkyrie Empire. I come to offer our unconditional surrender. Jinwoo did not respond immediately. He studied the alien carefully. Looking for tricks? Looking for lies? Finally he spoke. Why now? Why after 5 years? Because there is no more empire, Krevel said simply. He pulled up a display. It showed maps of Valkyrie space. When we lost 4 fleets and our empress, others saw weakness. Species we conquered rose up. Allies turned against us. Our empire collapsed in 2 years. Now we are just another species trying to survive. We have no more strength for war. Good, Jinwoo said without emotion. Krevel continued. I come not just to surrender. I come to beg forgiveness. What we did to Earth was unforgivable. The lives we took cannot be returned. But I must try to make some kind of amends. There are no amends for genocide, Jinwoo said coldly. I know, Krevel said. But I must try. Please let me tell my people what happened here. Let me take back the truth so they understand what we faced. What we did. What it cost both our species. Jinwoo looked at General Tae-sung. The general nodded slightly. They had discussed this possibility. They had prepared. Very well, Jinwoo said. We will show you what happened. We will give you all the records. All the data. All the truth. But first you will see what your war cost us. For 3 days, Krevel toured the remains of Earth. He saw the underground cities where millions lived without sunlight. He saw the hydroponic farms where humans grew food in artificial light. He saw the memorial walls where billions of names were carved. The dead, all the dead, he met survivors. People with radiation scars. People who lost entire families. People who would never see the sun again. Children born underground who had never seen the sky. Every person he met had lost something. Everyone had suffered. On the fourth day, elder historian Misun gave him the complete record. Every battle, every death, every sacrifice, thousands of hours of footage, millions of documents. The complete history of the war. This is everything? Krivel asked. Everything, Misun confirmed. We documented it all. We wanted future generations to understand what happened. What the cost of survival was, Krivel spent a week reading, watching, learning. He saw Commander Thaurik's First Fleet arrive with arrogance. He saw Captain Donglin's submarines strike from the depths. He saw Seoul burn and refuse to fall. He saw Dr. Sungho create a weapon of pure suffering. He saw Lieutenant Bora fly her last mission. He saw General Taesung make the choice to sacrifice Earth itself. He saw Youngmi press the button that saved humanity and kill the world. When he finished, he sat in silence for a long time. Then he looked at Misun with something like horror in his eyes. You documented your own war crimes, he said quietly. The biological weapons, the false surrenders, the use of civilians as fighters. Under galactic law, these are all crimes. Yes, Misun agreed. We broke every rule. We violated every convention. We did terrible things. Why document it? Why not hide it? Because, Misun said firmly, we want everyone to know what we are capable of. We want every species in the galaxy to understand what happens when you attack humanity. We don't hide our methods. We don't apologize for our survival. We did what we had to do. And we will do it again if we must. Krivel understood. This was not just a history. It was a warning. A message to the entire galaxy. This is what humans do when threatened. This is how far they will go. This is the price of fighting them. What are you? Krivel asked. How can one species be so strong? Misun smiled sadly. We are not strong. We are desperate. Humanity evolved on a death world. Earth was beautiful but deadly. Volcanoes, earthquakes, ice ages, diseases, predators. For 200,000 years, our species fought to survive. We learned to adapt. We learned to endure. We learned that giving up means death. She pulled up images of Earth's history. Humans in ice ages. Humans surviving droughts. Humans rebuilding after disasters. Humans fighting each other in thousands of wars. We have thousands of years of history written in blood. Every generation learned from the previous one. Every war taught us new ways to fight. By the time you arrived, we had 10,000 years of experience in killing each other. You were just another enemy. But we were more advanced, Krivel protested. Technology is not everything, Misun said. You had better ships, better weapons, better shields. But we had something you did not have. We had the absolute certainty that we would rather die than lose. We had the knowledge that defeat means extinction. We had the willingness to sacrifice everything for victory. She stood and walked to the window. Outside, the ruins of Geneva stretched to the horizon. You ask what we are? We are the species that never gives up. We are the species that turns defeat into victory. We are the species that will burn our own world rather than surrender it. We are humanity. And that is why no warrior returns from a war against us. Krivel left Earth with the complete historical record. He returned to what remained of Valkyrie space. He shared the truth with his people. The recordings spread. Other species watched. Other species learned. The message was clear. Humanity was not just another species. They were something different. Something dangerous. Something that should never be threatened. But the story did not end there. President Jinwoo called a meeting of the surviving government leaders. We have a decision to make, he said. We can stay here on Earth, rebuild, try to fix our world. It will take centuries. Maybe we never succeed. Or, someone asked, or we leave. We take what we learned from captured Valkyrie technology. We build our own FTL ships. We go out into the galaxy. We find new worlds. We spread across the stars. The debate was brief. Earth was dead. It would take hundreds of years to recover if it ever did. But humanity had the technology now. They had reverse-engineered alien FTL drives. They had learned how to build starships. They could leave. The decision was made. Humanity would leave Earth and spread across the galaxy. Young Me led the engineering teams. She designed the colony ships. Large vessels that could carry thousands of people. Self-sufficient ships that could travel for years. Ships built with human determination and alien technology. In 2 years, the first ships launched. In 5 years, dozens of ships departed. In 10 years, hundreds of colony ships spread across known space. Humanity was leaving their dead homeworld and taking to the stars, and everywhere they went, the other species knew who they were. The species that destroyed 4 Valkyrie fleets. The species that killed an empress. The species that burned their own world rather than lose. 20 years after the war, Ambassador Krevel visited the human colony on New Earth. It was a beautiful world. Similar to old Earth, the humans had terraformed it. Made it livable. Made it home. He met with Governor Minna, the colony leader. She was young. Born underground on old Earth, she never saw the original sun. But now she lived under the sky of a new world. Your people have done well,